It's tight to see whether this education funding initiative will come through.
Today on the Morning Edition, education funding still at the fore of lawmakers' minds as they battle a tight budget and try to find answers for everyone. We'll break down what exactly they're facing and trying to overcome. Plus, it's cookie season. If you haven't got your hands on some Girl Scout cookies, you're missing out. We took a trip to see what all goes into the challenges of getting them out in a terrain as rugged and vast as Alaska's. And later, a couple met by sheer chance. Right place, right time, and a relationship blossomed. Now, years later, they returned to the spot where it all began for a well-scripted and now viral proposal. We'll share their story as Morning Edition starts now. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us. I love a good love story.
Especially at Chili's. Now
At Chili's, I know. I love when they get like married or engaged at like Taco Bell, or because it's their favorite place, and so.
And I know, I think it's around February 14th. White Castle does like a little. It's reservations only to come into the restaurant and eat.
I love that.
So looking forward to hearing that story. Of course, we've got bitter cold conditions that's still with us across the state. We've got temperatures sitting at 3 degrees currently here in Anchorage, 37 below in Fairbanks, 2 below in Palmer, and of course out towards Juneau. We've got those temperatures sitting in the teens and the 20s for parts of the Panhandle. While we are still holding on to clear skies across most of the state, we are going to continue to watch many areas of Alaska continuing to slowly warm here over the next couple of days. But our coldest stretch of weather will stay with us through at least tomorrow. We've got 11 below in Kotzebue, nearly 40 below in Fairbanks this morning. And of course, while we are seeing some areas of South Central sitting with those sub-zero values, Anchorage is sitting above 0 degrees. But across the rest of South Central, we are seeing areas out towards Willow, Wasilla dropping down below 0, 20 below in Soldotna, and 9 below in Golcana. So we're going to continue to hold on to some of these coldest spots: Golcana, Willow, Trapper Creek, out towards Talkeetna, as well as Soldotna and Kenai will be some of the coldest areas that we'll see the next few mornings. Now, locally across the Anchorage Bowl, we are seeing some of the coldest conditions as you head east of, we'll call it the Seward Highway, 12 below in Merrillfield, as well as Muldoon, 16 below in Campbell Creek. So we're continuing to hold on to some of these coldest conditions, which will stay with us again through the next couple of mornings. But slow warming trend will carry us into the weekend, where we'll see highs topping back out in the 20s. But clear skies staying with us. That is the silver lining. The next couple of days will warm into the teens today. Now, by week's end, we'll add on about 10 degrees to this temperature. So slow warming will carry us through the close of this week. But again, we still have some cold mornings that will stay with us by tonight into tomorrow morning. Once again, expected to see many areas of South Central seeing those sub-zero values. You can see dropping down near 0 through the overnight hours. And by tomorrow morning for that morning commute, those sub-zero values will be with us. Now, again, warmer weather stays with us across the state. By week's end, slow warming. I'll let you know just how warm we'll get coming up.
A 22-year-old Wasilla man with a violent history is back in court, this time accused of killing an Anchorage teenager. Ian Millard appeared in Palmer on Monday facing second-degree murder, manslaughter, and evidence tampering in the death of 18-year-old Atasia Banks. Banks disappeared in November 2023. Her remains were found near Moose Meadows Road in Wasilla last September and later identified. Troopers arrested Millard Friday after a SWAT team stopped his vehicle on South Goose Bay Road. Court documents don't say how they knew each other, only that she was killed around the time she went missing. A family friend of the Millards confirmed for us that Millard spent time in juvenile detention for shooting and killing his mother and brother 10 years ago. At the time, Millard was 12, and he was living at the house you see here, the scene of his crime. Ian Millard was tried as a minor, and as such, the details of the case are sealed. But according to legal expert Robert Hers, that doesn't mean the previous case won't come up in the current trial.
Prosecution's going to try and either get the fact of the prior or maybe facts from the prior offense admitted, and the defense is going to do everything they can to keep that out of the record, so the jury's only deciding this homicide case on facts involved in the adult case.
Hers said that it is speculative at this point to say whether or not details of the 2016 case will be used. When it comes to sentencing, he added, juvenile cases can be considered. A jury has reached a verdict in an Anchorage murder case involving a $550 drug debt. Elijah Ramirez convicted on one count, but walks free on others.
We, the jury, find Elijah Ramirez not guilty of murder in the first degree as charged in count 1. Verdict 2 reads, we, the jury, find Elijah Ramirez guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in count 2. And verdict 3 reads, we, the jury, find Elijah Ramirez not guilty of kidnapping as charged in count 3.
An Anchorage judge reading the verdict to the 30-year-old now convicted of second-degree murder in the 2019 death of 48-year-old Oscar Garcia, but acquitted of first-degree murder and kidnapping. Garcia was found dead in a vehicle on Merrill Drive in the Turnagain neighborhood in November 2019. Investigators saying he had significant trauma. Prosecutors argued Garcia was killed over a $550 drug debt and that Ramirez was in the back seat of a red Kia Soul when Garcia was shot multiple times from behind. The defense questioned the motives and credibility of key witnesses, arguing the state failed to prove the more serious counts beyond a reasonable doubt. A sentencing date is set for July. Education funding continues to be top of mind for lawmakers. On the latest edition of Alaska's Political Pipeline, political reporter Will Courtney is discussing when these decisions need to be made.
For those who don't know what the BSA is, that's the base student allocation. The best way to kind of describe that is per student funding. So for every student that's in a school, how much money they're going to get. So currently, the legislature approved more funding for it last summer. So education funding is a top issue, but it comes with a little bit of baggage because we don't have a lot of funding that legislature is able to kind of put towards it. We're facing a tight budget. The governor's proposed budget has a $1.5 billion deficit.
Will has you covered on education. The bill he references is set for public testimony Wednesday. Find the full conversation, plus what to expect at today's address to the full-body legislature by Congressman Nick Begich on our website or mobile app. The Two Rivers community in the Fairbanks North Star Borough has resubmitted its charter school application, nearly 4 months after pulling it to address district concerns. The proposed Homestead Charter School would serve up to 100 K-8 students with 5 teachers, a head teacher, and about 22 students per class. Since withdrawing, organizers have worked with district staff and school board members to revise the plan and request policy waivers, and they've now secured a lease on the former Two Rivers School building, which the board closed this year. Sweet chocolate, sharp mint, and a little bit of crunch. That's the taste of a Thin Mint Girl Scouts cookie. But what does it take to get to your hands? Danny Tompkins stopped by the Girl Scouts of Alaska warehouse to see the operation up close.
For most of us, it's a seasonal treat. For these girls, it's everything.
I got to do it with my sister. She's a really good salesperson, so she got all the customers, and I sold the cookies. It was really cool.
Girl Scouts of Alaska CEO Hillary Patterson says this year's goal is 315,000 packages across southern Alaska.
It's more than just a box of cookies. It's a whole life lesson wrapped up in a box of cookies.
And in Alaska, selling cookies looks a little different.
In the lower 48, they can drive to all their places. We can't. Like, you have to fly or, take a boat. And Alaskans are all about perseverance anyways, right?
Kinley Phillips is in 2nd grade and already knows the hardest part.
Getting people to come and buy them.
Why do you think that's so hard?
Because you have to, ask them.
For Saya Erickson, the challenge is a little more physical.
Not getting the sign to blow away from me because they're giant, they're like mini parachutes because they're that big.
But the real payoff isn't in the cookie. It's in what the girls do with the money. The funds stay local, and the girls decide where they go.
They keep track of their own money. They interact with customers and learn customer service.
We do a lot of charity. We make placemats for construction workers, and we donate to the homeless shelter.
For these girls, it's more than just a cookie. It's a crash course in confidence, leadership, and yes, a little bit of Thin Mint magic. Danny Tompkins, Alaska's news source.
Here's a Girl Scout fun fact for you. Roughly 200 million boxes of Girl Scout cookies are sold in the U.S. each year, according to Girl Scouts of America, generating around $800 million in sales for councils and troops. Now I'm hungry. The Samoas are my favorite. Still ahead today on the Morning Edition, the last great race on Earth continues. We're now in day 3 as mushers continue marching down the historic trail with their 4-legged athletes bravely leading the way through the rugged Alaskan wilderness. We'll check in with some of them next.
Cold weather still with us across the state with some slow warming expected into the weekend. I'll have more on that first at sunrise, 8:31 in Anchorage, 9:13 in Utqiagvik. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back in on this Tuesday morning. Let's go ahead and check in with Aaron. What is our weather looking like today?
Well, still holding on to those cold conditions, and we're seeing temperatures as cold as about 30 to 40 below through the interior as that cold weather continues to spill into into Alaska. And of course, as we've been talking about, the coldest stretch remains for the interior. And we're still holding on to some snow showers for the Gulf of Alaska as well as out towards southeast. This could impact parts of Kodiak Island, but most of the snow will stay east of the island, out over the open waters of the Gulf of Alaska. Now, as we welcome in our spring months, spring is actually one of our spring seasons, actually one of the most extreme seasons we tend to see across the state. Our warmest spring day that we've ever seen is 77 degrees, while our coldest is -24. That's a 101 degree difference in our temperature. And even into the interior, we are expected to see some of our most extreme weather occurring during the spring season. You can see a difference of 146 degrees, with the warmest day occurring at 90 degrees, while the coldest of spring season came in at -56 degrees. So spring and fall tends to be our most extreme weather seasons across the state. And of course, we are waking up this morning with that rapid drop in temperatures we've seen through the weekend. 37 below in Fairbanks, 5 below in Nome. Along the slope, we've got those temperatures anywhere from 2 below in Utqiagvik to 23 below in Dead Horse. Now, while the Aleutians and southeast not holding on to as cold of conditions, temperatures are still on the chillier side. We've got that ridge of high pressure out over the western Aleutians, and we're also got another ridge of high pressure that's beginning to settle in across the interior. And then we've got this persistent area of low pressure that's in the eastern Gulf of Alaska that's going to keep some snow showers around for the Gulf Coast region. Now, with this low that is leading to those wraparound winds as well as this ridge of high pressure to our north, this is leading to a tightening pressure gradient across south central. Most of our winds that we're going to see today and into tomorrow will stay confined over the mountains south towards the coast. But inland areas, we could still see some winds gusting anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour. We'll be watching areas of the valley because if we can see that northeasterly orientation in that winds, you will see winds increasing for Palmer. If that doesn't occur, winds will stay down less than 20 miles per hour. If we see those winds fire in the valley, you can expect to see gusts anywhere from about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So much like yesterday, these winds will stay with us as that tightening pressure gradient is still with us across south central as that area of low pressure continues to lead to some persistent snow showers for the Gulf of Alaska. But there it is for Kodiak. You can see most of that activity stays east of the island. And then, of course, out towards coastal areas for Prince William Sound, we can't rule out some occasional spotty snow showers. But most of what we'll see will stay out over the open waters of the Gulf of Alaska, as well as out towards southeast. We stay dry with plenty of sunshine here across south central through the rest of this week with slow warming as we welcome in the weekend. And by slow warming, I mean temperatures will only top out about 10 degrees above where we're currently sitting at for those highs this week. 11 degrees for today. By the week's end, we'll see temperatures in the upper teens and then in the lower 20s as we welcome in the weekend.
It's such a beautiful day here. A little windy, but the trail is pretty nice.
Iditarod mushers and their four-legged athletes marching their way down the Iditarod Trail, making good progress throughout the day. Day 2 of the race and set for a new day. Many of the mushers and their dogs have reached their own checkpoint, but others are still making their way in. That's where we check in with sports director Jordan Rodenberger, who brings us the sights and sounds from the bustling checkpoint.
About 150 miles into the Iditarod Trail, mushers and their teams will reach the Rainy Pass checkpoint on Pontilla Lake right here in the heart of the Alaska Range. A welcoming sight after about 24 hours on the trail as we've seen a mix of strategy entering the checkpoint. Jesse Holmes, the reigning Iditarod champion and race leader heading into Rainy Pass, living up to his kennel's name of Team Can't Stop as the first in and out of the checkpoint, as when one team would depart, another would arrive. Each welcomed by fans who traveled into the remote checkpoint.
We love you. sorry.
I love you too.
I went dog sledding about 20 years ago and just kind of fell in love with the whole thing of it, and I've always dreamed of coming out here and seeing the real thing.
Where mushers report a bit of a snail trail.
Well, just slow trail, tough trail, but things are going good. For us, it's long ways to go to know. Yeah.
And high winds that resemble the western Alaskan coast.
Oh, that weren't that bad. Man, I thought I was at Shaktoolik for a minute.
As strategy comes into play on day 2.
How many people went through?
3. 2 have stopped, 3 have gone through.
Oh, okay. Who stopped?
Having to adjust on the fly when learning you're short on supply.
Man, that might be a problem in the end there, but we'll get it. We'll figure it out. Right, Andy?
That's
positive
the idea.
thinking.
That's
Positive
the
thinking.
power of positive thinking.
Yeah, that's how we did it.
It is one run at a time in the Iditarod, and there are many more to go as the terrain only gets tougher from here on out. Jordan Rodenberger, Alaska's news source.
On the leaderboard this morning, Jesse Holmes is currently in the lead with Paige Drobny and Riley Deitch rounding out the top 3. And many of those mushers are on the move. It's still very early in the 3rd day of the race, though, so there's a lot of time and a lot of ground to cover. So make sure you stay tuned in as we track the race's progress. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.